Hey there, fellow preppers and survival enthusiasts. Welcome back to SurvivalScope. I'm Larry, and today we're talking about a crucial topic that could make or break your preparedness efforts. We're going to look at 5 common mistakes in survival prepping that you might be making without even realizing it. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, mistakes? But I've been prepping for years. Well, let me tell you, even the most seasoned preppers can fall into these traps. The world of emergency preparedness is constantly evolving, and it's crucial to stay on top of best practices. So whether you're a seasoned prepper or just starting out, this video is for you. We're going to uncover these common pitfalls and show you how to avoid them, ensuring that your prepping efforts are as effective as possible. Let's dive in. Mistake number 1, focusing on the wrong skills. The first mistake we're going to talk about is focusing on the wrong skills. Now, don't get me wrong, all skills can be valuable in a survival situation, but there's a tendency among preppers to overemphasize certain skills while neglecting others that could be even more crucial. For example, many preppers spend a lot of time and resources on firearms training, and while knowing how to handle a firearm can certainly be important in some scenarios, it's not the be-all and end-all of survival skills. What's often overlooked are the more basic fundamental skills that are likely to be needed in almost any survival situation. I'm talking about things like 1. First aid. Knowing how to treat injuries and illnesses can be a literal lifesaver. 2. Fire starting. Being able to start a fire without matches or a lighter is crucial for warmth, cooking, and water purification. 3. Water purification. Knowing multiple methods to make water safe to drink is essential. 4. Shelter building. The ability to create a shelter from available materials can protect you from the elements. 5. Foraging. Identifying edible plants in your area can supplement your food supplies. These skills are often less glamorous than tactical training, but they're the ones you're most likely to need in a real emergency. Another aspect that's often neglected is mental and emotional resilience. In a survival situation, your mindset can be just as important as your physical skills. The ability to stay calm under pressure, make decisions in stressful situations, and maintain a positive outlook can be the difference between survival and giving up. So, how can you avoid this mistake? Here are a few tips. 1. Assess your current skill set honestly. Where are your strengths and weaknesses? 2. Focus on developing a well-rounded set of skills. Don't neglect the basics in favor of more advanced or specialized skills. 3. Knowledge without practice isn't enough. 4. Work on your mental resilience. Consider practices like meditation or stress management techniques. Remember, in a real survival situation, it's often the most basic skills that will keep you alive. Mistake number 2, over-reliance on technology. The second common mistake we see in prepping is an over-reliance on technology. Now, don't get me wrong, modern technology can be incredibly useful in emergency situations, but it's a mistake to rely on it too heavily. Think about it. In many disaster scenarios, what's one of the first things to go? That's right, the power grid. And when the power goes out, a lot of our modern technology becomes useless. Your smartphone, your GPS device, your electric can opener, all of these things become paperweights without electricity. Even if you have a generator or solar panels, there's no guarantee they'll work indefinitely. Fuel can run out, solar panels can break, and batteries eventually die. And let's not forget about EMPs, electromagnetic pulses, which could potentially fry all electronic devices in a wide area. So, what's the solution? It's not about completely abandoning technology, but rather about having non-tech backups for all your essential preps. Here are some examples. 1. Navigation. Don't just rely on GPS. Learn to use a map and compass. 2. Communication. Have a hand crank radio in addition to your cell phone and walkie-talkies. 3. Food preparation. Have manual tools like a hand crank can opener and a manual grain mill. 4. Lighting. Stock up on candles and oil lamps in addition to flashlights and lanterns. 5. Fire starting. Learn to start a fire with a ferro rod or even by friction, not just with lighters or matches. The key is to have multiple options, both high-tech and low-tech, for all your essential needs. This way, you're prepared no matter what the situation throws at you. Another aspect of this is skills. In addition to having non-tech tools, it's important to develop non-tech skills. Learn to navigate by the stars, to tell time by the sun, to find water without modern tools. These skills have served humanity for thousands of years, and they're just as valuable today in a survival situation. Remember, technology is a tool, not a crutch. Use it when it's available, but be prepared to survive without it. Mistake number 3, neglecting the mental aspect. The third mistake we often see in prepping is neglecting the mental aspect of survival. Many preppers focus solely on physical preparations, stockpiling supplies, learning survival skills, getting in shape. And while these are all important, they overlook one crucial factor: mental preparedness. In a real survival situation, your mindset can be just as important as your gear or your skills. The ability to stay calm under pressure, to make decisions in stressful situations, to maintain hope in the face of adversity. These mental skills can be the difference between survival and giving up. Think about it. Even the most physically prepared person can crumble under the psychological stress of a disaster. Panic, anxiety, depression, and PTSD are all very real risks in survival situations. And if you're not mentally prepared to deal with these challenges, all your physical preps might not be enough. So, how can you develop mental preparedness? Here are a few strategies. 1. Practice stress management. Learn techniques like deep breathing, meditation, or progressive muscle relaxation. These can help you stay calm in stressful situations. 2. Develop a positive mindset. Cultivate optimism and resilience. This doesn't mean ignoring potential dangers, but rather developing the belief that you can overcome challenges. 3. Visualize scenarios. Mentally walk through potential disaster scenarios. This can help reduce shock and panic if these situations actually occur. 4. Build emotional resilience. Work on managing your emotions. Learn to recognize and regulate fear, anger, and despair. 5. Practice decision-making. Engage in activities that require quick decision-making under pressure, like certain sports or games. 6. Strengthen your support network. Build strong relationships with family and friends. Social support is crucial for mental health in crisis situations. 7. Consider professional help. If you have existing mental health concerns, consider working with a therapist to develop coping strategies specific to disaster scenarios. Remember, mental preparedness isn't about eliminating fear or stress. That's not realistic. It's about developing the tools to manage these emotions effectively and continue functioning even in high-stress situations. One final note on this topic: don't neglect the importance of morale-boosting items in your preps. Things like books, games, or comfort foods might seem frivolous, but they can be crucial for maintaining mental health in a long-term survival situation. Mistake number 4: insufficient knowledge of local environment. The fourth mistake we often see in prepping is insufficient knowledge of the local environment. Many preppers focus on general survival skills and stockpiling supplies, but neglect to really understand the specific challenges and resources of their local area. This is a critical oversight. Every environment has its own unique characteristics, risks, and resources. The skills and supplies you need for survival in the desert Southwest are very different from what you'd need in the Pacific Northwest or the urban Northeast. So, what aspects of your local environment should you be familiar with? Here are some key areas. 1. Natural disasters. What are the most likely natural disasters in your area? Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires, tornadoes. Each of these requires different preparation and response strategies. 2. Climate. Understand the typical weather patterns in your area. What are the temperature extremes? How much rainfall do you get? This information is crucial for planning your shelter, clothing, and water collection strategies. 3. Flora and fauna. Know what plants and animals are common in your area. Which ones are edible? Which ones are dangerous? This knowledge can be invaluable for foraging and avoiding hazards. 4. Water sources. Identify all potential water sources in your area. This includes not just rivers and lakes, but also smaller streams, springs, and even urban sources like water towers. 5. Terrain. Understand the topography of your area. Are there hills or mountains that could provide natural shelter? Are there areas prone to flooding? 6. Urban layout. If you live in or near a city, familiarize yourself with the urban landscape. Know the major roads, potential evacuation routes, and areas that might become dangerous in a disaster. 7. Local resources. Identify potential sources of supplies in your area. This could include farms, warehouses, or even abandoned buildings that might contain useful resources in a disaster scenario. So, how can you develop this local knowledge? Here are a few strategies. 1. Study local maps. Get detailed topographic maps of your area and study them. Mark important locations like water sources, potential shelter sites, and dangerous areas. 2. Take nature walks. Regularly explore your local environment. Practice identifying plants and animals. Look for natural shelter locations. 3. Talk to old-timers. Longtime residents often have valuable knowledge about local weather patterns, hidden resources, and historical disasters. 4. Join local groups. Participate in local outdoor gardening or prepper groups. These can be great sources of local knowledge. 5. Study local history. Research past disasters in your area. What happened? How did people respond? What lessons can be learned? Remember, in a survival situation, intimate knowledge of your local environment can give you a crucial advantage. Don't neglect this important aspect of prepping. Mistake number 5, ignoring community connections. The fifth and final mistake we're going to discuss today is ignoring community connections. This is a big one, folks. Many preppers fall into the trap of the lone wolf mentality, thinking they need to be entirely self-sufficient and independent. But the truth is, humans are social creatures, and in a long-term survival situation, community can be one of your greatest assets. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but Larry, I'm prepping to protect my family from others who aren't prepared. And I get it. Security is important, and in the immediate aftermath of a disaster, you might need to rely primarily on yourself and your immediate family. But for long-term survival and rebuilding, community connections are invaluable. Here's why community is so important in a survival situation. 1. Diverse skills. No one person can be an expert in everything. In a community, you can pool diverse skills and knowledge. 2. Resource sharing. Communities can share resources more efficiently, making supplies last longer. 3. Labor division. With more people, you can divide labor and accomplish more. 4. Security. A group is generally safer than an individual or small family. 5. Emotional support. The psychological benefits of human connection shouldn't be underestimated in a crisis situation. 6. Information sharing. In a disaster, accurate information can be life-saving. A network of people can gather and share information more effectively. So, how can you build community connections as part of your prepping strategy? Here are some ideas. 1. Get to know your neighbors. This is the most basic step. Introduce yourself, build relationships, and maybe even discuss emergency preparedness. 2. Join local groups. Look for local prepper groups, community gardens, neighborhood watch programs, or other community organizations. 3. Develop a neighborhood emergency plan. Work with your neighbors to create a plan for how you'll help each other in an emergency. 4. Share skills. Offer to teach skills you're proficient in and be open to learning from others. 5. Participate in community events. This helps build relationships and trust, which are crucial in emergency situations. 6. Consider forming a mutual assistance group, MAG. This is a group of like-minded individuals who agree to help each other in a crisis. 7. Volunteer. Participating in local volunteer organizations like Community Emergency Response Teams, CART, can help you build connections and learn valuable skills. Remember, building community connections doesn't mean you have to reveal all your preps or compromise your security. It's about building a network of mutual support that can be activated in times of need. In a real, long-term disaster scenario, lone wolves rarely thrive. It's the communities that come together, pool their resources and skills, and work cooperatively that have the best chance of not just surviving, but rebuilding and thriving. All right, folks, we've covered a lot of ground today. Let's recap the 5 common prepping mistakes we've discussed. 1. Focusing on the wrong skills. 2. Over-reliance on technology. 3. Neglecting the mental aspect. 4. Insufficient knowledge of local environment. 5. Ignoring community connections. By avoiding these mistakes, you can significantly improve your preparedness and increase your chances of survival in a crisis situation. Remember, effective prepping isn't about hoarding supplies or becoming a survival superhero. It's about developing a well-rounded set of skills, both physical and mental, understanding your environment, having multiple backup plans, and building a supportive community. I encourage all of you to take some time to evaluate your current prepping strategy. Are you falling into any of these traps? If you are, don't worry. Awareness is the first step to improvement. Start making changes today to address these areas. And remember, prepping is a journey, not a destination. Keep learning, keep practicing, and keep connecting with others in the prepping community. We're all in this together. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it helpful, please give it a like and consider subscribing to SurvivalScope for more prepping and survival content. And hey, leave a comment below. What other common prepping mistakes have you observed or learned from? Your insights could help other members of our community. Stay safe, stay prepared, and keep prepping.